Okay, this is a quick look at making the dough. As you see, a very large mixing bowl. There's some of the tools, a Danish whisk and a plastic scraper. Here I'm getting out all the flours, and there's all the different kinds I use. Basically, I just try to find stuff: wheat germ, milled flax. I sometimes throw in sunflower seeds, whatever. So 12 cups of water at 110 degrees, and by the way, I'll put all this at the end in a note that you can look at. Heat the water up in the microwave a little bit, put it in, 6 tablespoons of yeast, and then kind of just mix that up a little bit, make sure it looks okay. There we go. That's what it looks like. Now I'm going to just hand measure 4 tablespoons of salt. I use sea salt. And throw in some of the milled flax, throw in a little bit of wheat germ. Oh, I had some cornmeal I tried to use up, so I threw that in too. It's always an experiment. So now with the flour, as you can see, there's going to be a lot of it here. I basically tried to use up some stuff, whatever I was trying to do. The proportions are as follows in this particular batch: 2 cups of rye, 6 cups whole wheat, 4 cups of white whole wheat, and 14 cups of white flour. Again, I pretty much just tried to use up what I had there, and that's what determined it. I think, in fact, here comes the white flour. I've been trying to use a little more flour actually to make it a little firmer, just to see how that comes out. I think this is 8 cups. And here, the whisk fell in. That always gets pretty darn dirty here. Stirring it around, and as you can see, this is a no-knead recipe, but what you do have to do is make sure that the flour and the salt and everything gets nicely mixed. So I'm just basically mixing it around, and again, you do what it is. Here I didn't need 16 cups of flour. I took 2 out of the last thing, and there, just mixing it around, and you'll see what the consistency of is in a minute. As you can see, it's a thick dough, but everything should be pretty well mixed. And that's it. Just takes a couple minutes, and then I use the plastic scraper to take everything off the dough whisk. The more you clean off here, the more dough you have, and of course the less cleanup you have later off the whisk. I scrape the sides a little bit just to make sure everything's nice and neat. Make sure it's all good. I scrape whatever's on my hands, and that's it. Now we're going to cover it and let it sit at least 2.5 hours. I let it sit, overnight. It's probably from 8 o'clock until, 8 o'clock the next morning. Next morning we take it out and we split it into smaller portions so it fits in the refrigerator. First thing I do is take a small portion for challah. You can see the consistency there. It's a little gloopy. It's certainly not as thick looking as it was before, and it's almost doubled in size. But it's ready to go. It looks pretty good. I keep my hands wet, and I just kind of pull chunks out and throw them in the other smaller containers. Then I take the plastic scraper again and try to get as much of the dough out as possible, both to use the dough and also just save some cleanup time at the end. The plastic scraper is an incredibly useful tool. Wash my hands off. That's what it looks like in the bowl. You want to leave some space so when it rises it doesn't go over the edge. Had a little trouble with this bag here. It took me a little while to get that on. There we go. Okay, and now the fun part, trying to fit it in the fridge, which I should have planned before. And oh no, thing's full. Okay, so anyways, I gotta do some rearranging here. 1 bowl's in, 2 bowls are in. Will it close? Yes! So here I'm going to show some recipes. Hit the pause button to look at these. And as you can see, they're sort of variations on the same thing. One thing I noticed here, I have 16 cups of water as I get into the later recipes. I'm not sure why, maybe because I thought the more whole wheat was more work, but experiment and see how it goes.